Okay, I hope you guys are ready for the last of the super awesome videos brought to you by yours truly, Mrs. Munson. This last video is about how distance from large bodies of water affects your climate, or in other words, how whether you live on a coast or whether you live in the middle of a continent affects both your temperature and precipitation. The first thing that we have to remember when talking about how your temperatures are going to be affected is how the atmosphere is heated. Okay, and this is through the greenhouse effect. What happens in the greenhouse effect is that energy from the sun is absorbed by Earth's surface. Now, Earth's surface is made up of both land and water. So that energy from the sun is absorbed by both the land and water on Earth. That surface, whether it's the land or the water, is then heated and it emits that energy back towards space. Okay, but the greenhouse gases absorb some of that energy, heating the lower atmosphere. So ultimately, our atmosphere is heated by the land or water that is underneath it. Now, if you think back to a couple weeks ago, we did a lab where we tested both sand and water to see how they heat and cool differently. And our results looked something like this. We had one that stayed about the same. It heated up a little bit and cooled down a little bit, but it didn't really change that much. We had another one that heated up a lot and cooled down a lot. Now this map right here shows us, or this graph I should say, shows us the average temperatures of San Francisco, California, and Bakersfield, California. So one of those is going to be located on the ocean, and another one of those is going to be located further inland. So if we look at a map here, we can see that San Francisco is located right here on the Pacific Ocean. So it's what we call coastal. Bakersfield, on the other hand, is down here. It is surrounded by land, so it's what we call continental. So if we go back to the graph, San Francisco is the one that was located near the water. So water heats and cools very slowly, which means that places located near the water also heat and cool very slowly. So they wind up with very stable temperatures. Places that are located inland, like Bakersfield, California, in other words, places that are continental, heat up very quickly and they also cool down very quickly. Okay, they have what we call very extreme temperatures. So the land, which heats up quickly and cools down quickly, winds up giving the air above it very extreme temperatures. The average temperature, though, oops, wrong map. The average temperature of these places winds up being about the same, though, as long as they're at the same latitude and same altitude. We can see right here in California, this would be where they are located. They are both in orange. The average temperature stays about the same. So we can't really say that one is colder than the other or one is warmer than the other. What we can say is that one has very stable temperatures and one has very extreme temperatures. It just so happens that places located near water tend to have very stable temperatures. Places located surrounded by land have very extreme temperatures. And whether you live by land or water also affects the amount of precipitation that you get. For this, basically, if you live near water, there is more water that is able to be evaporated by the radiation from the sun, and therefore you tend to have more rain. So if you live in a coastal place, you tend to have more rain than if you live near a continental place or in a continental place. So if we look at the United States, this is a prime example of where this happens. Our west coast here and our east coast here are both green, so they are higher up in the amount of precipitation that they receive. The interior part of the United States, where we live, is lower. They get more in the yellows and peaches and reds for precipitation. So the coastal places get more precipitation than continental places.